Hey guys, Fan here again, and today I'm bringing you guys a very important video. This video is going to be covering the concept of priority. Now, this is a concept that pro players are very familiar with, and in fact, you're going to be hearing, it's pretty common to hear pro players, not just in HOTS, but in League and Dota as well, talking about this in the form of, the other team has priority, we can't do this right now, or we need to get prio, we need lane prio. So, what does this mean? What is priority and why is it something that pro players think about and not something that casual or Storm League players think about when it's super important for playing MOBAs? It's a very important strategical thing that you have to understand in order to get better and in order to really master the art of playing a MOBA. So we'll be covering this. It'll also answer some very important questions, such as why is soaking quickly important? Why is having a good double soak important? Why is doing camps important? And particularly, why is doing camps first before the other team very important? All right, so let's start with the soaking first of all. And this is a concept that applies to you no matter what role you are, okay? Whether you're in the four-man or the off lane, getting priority is very important. And it applies to many things like I mentioned before. It can be lane priority, it can be camp priority. Um, but we'll start off by talking about lane priority, okay? So let's think about a case where the game has just begun and there's a 5 versus 5 in the middle lane, right? So what happens here? Well, one of these two teams, either the left team or the right team, will be able to clear this lane first, right? I'm going to mark the left team here with red, so this will be red color. I'll mark the red, or sorry, the right team with the red and the left team with blue, okay? So let's say the red team clears middle wave first. So what are they gonna do? Well, the red team, since they cleared the wave first, they can leave the lane first. And this is basically the concept of priority. Uh, you have a priority over the enemy team, which means you can do something first. Now, why is this important? Because if the red team can leave the lane first, let's say the four-man rotates first, right? And the solo laner goes off to soak. This is important because what all of a sudden now, the four-man, for example, they could be anywhere, right? They rotate out of vision. So you could have four red members here, or they could just all rotate to bottom lane. They could be anywhere. The important thing is they left the lane first. And the problem that the blue team will have here is because their lane is not fully cleared yet, you need to leave at least one member here in order to soak the rest of the lane, right? There needs to be at least one guy here, which means even if you try to leave, you cannot do this, right? Because if you're only gonna have three people here, and the red team is gonna have four people here potentially. So when the team with priority rotates, you cannot follow them quickly. You cannot follow them at the same time they're leaving because you have one guy stuck here soaking. If you do leave with four people, then you're going to miss the soak. So you're going to be missing something right off the bat. So that's not ideal either, right? And this is why priority is important. So because you cannot do this, you're going to be slower than the red team on the rotate. And what's going to happen is, well, the red team is going to get to bottom lane first, right? And because they got to bottom lane first, they're also going to clear bottom lane first, right? Which allows them to once again do whatever they want. So they clear mid lane first, which means they leave mid lane first. So they have lane priority. And then they get to another lane. Since they had priority in middle, now they have priority in bottom. And they clear bottom and they can leave again. And what do they do? Well, they can do anything. They can either gank you or they can go do their camps. They can do whatever they want, right? But the important thing is they are doing this before you are doing this, right? Now, if this was a really high elo game and you don't know if there's four people here, sometimes you would have to be forced to make the safe rotate all the way here, which is really inefficient, right? Now, in most Storm League games, people are not coordinated enough to do this. So in most Storm League games, what this will really just mean is you just go this way, maybe like 5 seconds later after the red team is showing somewhere, maybe bottom lane or something. But any case, the team with priority is going to be the team that has the first mover's advantage. And you can kind of already see how this is going to play out, right? So let's say the red team does their giant camp first. Since they did everything else first, they're going to also finish their giant camp first, which means they're going to, their camp is going to be done before your camp by a good 5-10 seconds. And since they finish this camp first, then they also leave this camp first. And once again, they are first to anything, right? So they can go do this camp first, right? And you're just going to be permanently behind them because you didn't have priority. So your camp is going to be once again maybe 10 seconds slower than their camp, and this is just going to continue on until maybe there's an objective. And once there's an objective, well, since red team has been ahead the whole time because of priority, they're going to get to the objective first. And keep in mind during this whole time that the red team is not really under much threat, right? Because they know they outnumber you. They can go wherever they want. They can do whatever they want with this priority. Now, think about it if you're playing on the blue team. You have one guy here. You cannot check this bush because you're outnumbered, right? You got to go safe way. The red team is doing camps before you, so you got to like leave people to clear the camps as well. You're basically always outnumbered on the map, so you're very restricted. You can't really go anywhere. And this is the importance of having priority. Basically, whichever team has priority has the first mover advantage, and with first mover's advantage comes all of these benefits, right? You can do whatever you want on the map, you can get ahead, and you can do it while feeling very safe because you have vision of some dude here clearing, so you know you have a numbers advantage anywhere on the map. Whereas on the blue team, they don't feel safe at all. They cannot check fog of war at all because the red team got there first. So they have to play very scared, very safe. They have to play in all of these safe angles. They could get ganked at any time, any bush they try to go in. They could be getting ganked here. They could be getting ganked there. So hopefully that kind of shows you why why priority is super important. And funnily enough, that is also why something that people think is meaningless, the 5 versus 5 in middle lane, this is actually sometimes very important. And the reason why pro teams also will sometimes 5 versus 5 middle lane is because they want this priority. They want to be able to get ahead of the other team. Now, in terms of pro teams, though, if they know they can't win the 5 versus 5, if they have a late game scaling team, they'll just accept that the other team has priority a lot of the time, and then they just won't fight. They'll just accept that they have to play passively like this for a while. But yeah, you can see why this concept of priority is super super important, and the team with it always has an advantage. And this is also why it's important to get faster soak, right? Because this applies to anything. We're talking about the four-man rotations here, but the same thing for the soaker. The soaker is even more basic, right? If you soak let's say if you're soaking top first and the fight is bottom, red solo laner soaked top first, right? Blue solo laner thus is slower on the rotate. Blue solo laner has to stay here for like another 5 seconds to clear the wave because the red solo laner cleared it faster. And what can he do? Well, he can go middle and clear middle faster as well. And then he can go to the team fight, right? And he'll be at the team fight 5 seconds before the blue laner because he had priority. And blue laner will only be maybe over here when you're already at the team fight, which results in a 5 versus 4 for 5 or 10 seconds, however long your priority is, right? And that is a massive deal. So priority expands everywhere on the map. This is why soaking quickly is important, efficiency is important, and the same concept with camps, right? If you do your camps first, then your camps are going to be threatening them faster, and then it basically works the same way, right? You did your camps first, you can leave first, you can do other stuff first. Um, this is kind of on Cursed Hollow. It's also reminiscent of why people want you to do the giant camp on the opposite of side of the map. So if the curse is bottom, it's good to do the giant camp top, right? Because they have to send someone to deal with it during curse. Um, it's not exactly priority, but it's a similar concept. So now I will show you guys the what it looks like in a real game here. So we'll talk about it a little bit in a real game here. This In this game, I happen to be playing Malthaels, or the solo laner, and you can pretty much see it playing out in real time in the real game. So level 1 fight, we are fighting here. Because our team clears the way first, we now have priority over the red team, right? And you can see the way the priority expands. And we had priority there because their Sonya didn't go, so it was 5 versus 4, right? So you can see the way that the game progresses. Our team is rotating first. We're getting to the other areas of the map first, while they are stuck middle, clearing the rest of the wave. So you can see this is basically first-hand example of how the priority works in the real game. And now we have control of the rotate bottom. They can't really rotate bottom safely, which is not a big deal for them since their Sonya cleared uh, bottom. But I also get to top first, and now I have priority over top side, right? Someone else now has to stay here and clear this top wave. Meanwhile, I'm already rotating. This is why I like Pale Horse on Malthael as well. Gives you really good efficiency in terms of rotation, which helps priority, helps get, ahead. So now we're already middle. Rhaegar is stuck top clearing. So we are influencing the map here, whereas Rhaegar is not, right? And we clear middle first now, and we are already on our way to somewhere else. And now you can see Rhaegar appears like 5 to 10 seconds behind me because he is behind in priority, and I can use that in order to do something ahead of him, right? Rhaegar is still middle, he's still fighting the heroes for fun. I'm already on the camp, already finishing the camp, so we get this camp with the priority. And since we get this camp first, they're gonna have to deal with this, and I'm already on my way to do something else. So this is kind of like the basics of how priority works and how you think about the game at a really high level. You can see once this is like once you get to a place where you're playing with a party, you're playing with a full 5 stack, a full team, and you're on voice comms, this kind of stuff really matters. It lets your whole team just do things first, get in position first, and really whichever team has priority is going to be the team that can make way more plays, because not only are you in the position first, the other team also doesn't know where you are, and you know where more of the other members are because they are going to be showing on vision on waves, and you're going to be in fog of war, which means they are at much higher risk of being ganked, being killed, being out of position. So hope this helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'll answer them when I see them, and we'll see you for the next one.